So last night, the Boston Celtics won another NBA championship by taking down the Dallas Mavericks in Game 5. That is the Celtics' record 18th NBA championship. A lot of Larry O'Brien trophies in Boston. So coming up on today's show, how can the Golden State Warriors put together a team to dethrone the Boston Celtics? Stay tuned for that. And if you want the Dubs to take the Celtics down, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video right now. Warriors did it a couple of years ago. And of course on this show, how can they get back to that point? Move number one on how Golden State can beat Boston. You waive Looney as well as Chris Paul. Obviously, with Kevon Looney, he's helped this organization win multiple championships. He's been the ultimate glue guy for the Warriors, but it's a move that needs to be done. You need to get younger, more athletic, more explosive. You can get a little bit more agile in the front court. Really, though, the key reason, save some money. The money saved for the Warriors going into 2024-2025, if you cut Kevon Looney and Chris Paul, that is a combined $35 million. You could pick up a couple of really solid players for that price point, or a really good player for that price point if you just want to bring in an individual star. So it's $5 million for Looney and then $30 million for CP3. As for the Chris Paul situation specifically, you could try to trade him, but you'd likely be taking back another bad contract in order to match the salaries and make that trade work. If you waive him, you open up as much money as you can. And according to reports, the Warriors and CP3 have discussed moving on. That June 28th contract guarantee is kind of looming there. That's the deadline. So remember that date as we move forward, as we record this show on this fine Tuesday, June 18th of 2024. Move number two, let Klay Thompson walk. Just like waiving Kevon Looney would be a very difficult and emotional decision, that doesn't compare with the reality of moving on from Klay Thompson. And it's unfortunate. You just can't pay a declining asset who's past his prime, who has an injury history, who has shown signs of decline, $30 million. And I know that Klay Thompson has helped lift this Warriors team to new heights. He's been the backbone of this Warriors championship culture. But at some point, you have to move on. Because in professional athletics, when players decline, you can't afford to pay them for their past performances. And that's the issue with Klay Thompson. The shooting has gone downhill a little bit. The consistency is not what it once was. And the defensive metrics are not good. The defensive rating for Klay Thompson has gone down each of the last several years. And for Bleacher Report, they're predicting that Klay Thompson is going to land a 3-year, $82 million contract from the Orlando Magic. And the Warriors, with where they are, this is the reality of the situation, can't afford that with Klay Thompson. Now, from my view, more thoughts on that coming up here as we get the YouTube Shorts camera ready. The future of Klay Thompson, it's going to be a massive decision for the Golden State Warriors. If you pay Klay Thompson anything more than $20 million per year, you really dig yourselves into a deep hole, and you likely waive another realistic opportunity at a Steph Curry championship goodbye. It's going to be difficult to move on from Klay Thompson, but it's a move that this team simply needs to make. He's not the same shooter that he once was. He's not as consistent as he's been throughout his career. And what's been the calling card for Klay Thompson? What's made him great? He's been one of the best two-way players in the history of the NBA, making it rain from deep and knocking down three-pointers, being an elite defender. But the defense has started to slip. The shooting isn't what it once was, and Klay Thompson simply isn't worth $30 million. Golden State is tight on cash. They can allocate that money elsewhere to put a better team around Steph Curry in order to chase an NBA championship. And other ways to create cap space here for Golden State, you say goodbye to Looney, you say goodbye to Chris Paul, as well as Klay Thompson. What that does, that puts Golden State at $137 million. So the Warriors would have $4 million in cap space, still an expensive roster. There's no doubt about that. You would have a non-taxpayer MLE, which is $12.9 million that you can use, and then the biannual exception, which is basically a vet min at that point of $4.5 million. The non-taxpayer MLE targets, Warriors need a big. They need a big body down low, and a player who I really like is Jonas Valanciunas. I think that he would be a really good fit on this team. Lob threat, mid-range, baby hook, good defender, good rebounder. And then DeAnthony Melton is intriguing because he can handle the rock, he can play off ball, he can knock down the three from time to time, he can create at least a little bit, and he's a good defender. He's coming off a back injury, so that's a little bit of a concern, but these are championship rotation types of pieces that can make the Warriors a better basketball club in order to compete with the Boston Celtics. As for the Bay, the biannual exception, Najee Marshall, good size, 6'7", 220. Last year with the Pelicans, 7 points per game, 3.5 rebounds. Do you want to use the biannual exception on a player like that to kind of fill out the roster? He's a classic 3-and-D wing. He could be of great value where you get him on this Warriors team and you maximize him as a player given the other pieces on this squad right now. Pretend that you're the general manager. Name a player that you want the Golden State Warriors to sign in free agency. Join the conversation down below in the comment section right now. Coming up next, 2 more moves for the Warriors to win now to dethrone the Celtics. But let's throw it back to those Warriors draft hats. They're on sale right now at chatsports.com/Warriors draft hats. You can get the hats available in the flat brim style, but also the dad hat. I love the color scheme. I love the look, the logo, multiple different choices that you can make here with the flat brim and then the dad hat. On sale right now up until the draft, chatsports.com/Warriors draft hats. We appreciate Fanatics for helping to make today's show possible. At number 3, Andrew Wiggins and picks for a role piece. We're talking about a trade here, and this furthermore clears up some more money, and you're able to tinker with this roster, I think, to just have more cohesion and to try to maximize the financial capital that you do have. Andrew Wiggins during the NBA Finals in 2022, really good. Very solid offensive player that year, was an NBA All-Star, very good lockdown defender. He's just kind of lost his confidence, and the Warriors can't afford that. And they also can't really afford this contract for a player who's been disappointing the last 2 years after the NBA Finals. $28.3 million this year, $28.2 the following year. Then you have that player option, 2026-2027, of $30.2 million. The main trade target, if you were to trade away Andrew Wiggins, Jarrett Allen. So then you now have a front court potentially of Jarrett Allen, Trayce Jackson-Davis, Jonas Valanciunas. You've been such a small team over the last couple of years in a Western Conference, which has a lot of height, has a lot of bulk and size to it. The Cavaliers are looking to also make some changes on their roster. We'll see what happens with Donovan Mitchell. We'll see what happens with Darius Garland. Jarrett Allen, though, could be moved. 16.5 points per game, 10.5 rebounds last year, efficient around the rim. He's not going to stretch the floor and shoot, but a lob threat, a guy who can block shots at the rim, alter shots at the rim. He's a very, very good big in this league, and I'd like to see him paired up alongside Steph Curry. Other potential pieces that you could swing in an Andrew Wiggins deal, Tim Hardaway Jr., Maxi Kleber, and 2 second-round picks for a Dallas Mavericks team that's looking at that roster saying, we just weren't as deep as Boston. Jordan Clarkson and 2 seconds from the Utah Jazz. You get a scoring punch coming in off the bench there. And then with the Oklahoma City Thunder, that is a team that is really, really deep, that's also looking to make some changes. And I think that Andrew Wiggins, regardless of what you get back from OKC, can help that team. They were clearly short on depth too against the Dallas Mavericks, but they have all that star power after they were the number 1 seed in the West. Move number 4 to take down Boston. You develop the uber-talented Jonathan Kuminga, and you give him a contract extension, and you hope that he can take that Jaylen Brown leap. Jaylen Brown, Jonathan Kuminga. I've said this since Kuminga came into the league. A lot of similarities. Athlete, game, raw. Jaylen Brown just won NBA Finals MVP. If Jonathan Kuminga can become even a close player to what Jaylen Brown is, the Golden State Warriors have a building block. They have a borderline franchise player. And I think the Warriors view Kuminga as basically untouchable. And if you pay him now, you might be able to have a pretty good bargain deal for Kuminga as compared to if you wait. And if the Warriors view Kuminga as untouchable, it kind of means they believe he could be a second or third option on a title team. Can he be that guy for Steph Curry? Huge decision looming this offseason. And I think the Warriors' actions are going to go a long way in leading us to find out what they think of Kuminga. Last 44 games played after he complained about not getting enough run from Steve Kerr. He played really, really good. Almost 19 points per game, 54% from the floor, and 36% from three. You extend him once other moves are made because you want to see what you're able to put together as far as your roster goes. Producer Smitty's projection, 5 years, $160 million. Again, you get that deal done now. You hope that he's able to blossom, because if you don't get the deal done now and then he does take that leap, you're paying him a lot of cash. And then at number 5, the Warriors here are sitting at 52 overall in the 2024 NBA draft coming up at the end of this month. Draft a proven talent with the 52nd overall pick. On Golden State's timeline here, the NBA draft prioritizes potential over production. So Golden State will have a crop, a handful of proven players that fit their timeline of maybe being able to contribute in the immediacy to help out this team right from the get-go, not a developmental piece. And a couple of the Warriors draft targets we've talked about with players being available at 52, Jalen Bridges, Brandon Carlson, Antonio Reeves, Ozo Ighodaro, Bronny James. Brandon Carlson is a player who is a center, who could shoot a little bit. With the Utes last year, 38% from three, 17 points per game, not a bad rebounder. He can stretch the floor. A little bit light at 7 feet, 220 pounds, but nonetheless, a player who could fit this team right now. So you look at the 5 moves that the Warriors can make to dethrone and take down Boston, because that team's scary. You know, Jaylen Brown's 27, Jason Tatum's 26. You waive Looney and Paul, you let Klay Thompson walk, you trade Andrew Wiggins away for a role piece or a starter in Jarrett Allen, you develop and extend Jonathan Kuminga, you draft the proven talent at number 52, and then the potential roster. Starting 5, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, Jarrett Allen. I like that. And then your bench, DeAnthony Melton, Trace Jackson Davis, Najee Marshall, Brandon Carlson, and Monty Morris. My final thoughts, does that roster stack up against Boston? No. But does it give Golden State direction? Does it put them in a spot to develop and contend and at least be competitive? Because last year, the Warriors were not competitive. They got to get back to that and take advantage of Steph Curry still hooping. Grade that Warriors potential roster for 2024-2025, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know down in the comment section. Sound off with what you think. Don't forget to hit that sub button. We did reach our sub number on yesterday's show of reaching the Steph Curry jersey number amount of subscribers picked up. We appreciate the support.